Okay.
Here we come.
All right, I got you.
Got me?
Yep, I got you.
So as I'm sure many of you have heard by now, yesterday, June 14th, was supposed to be No Kings Day in America. And this was essentially supposed to be a massive day of left-wing protest and action against Donald Trump. We're going to hold signs and scream in cities across this country. And all of Trump supporters are going to be so intimidated after this. Look at the Democrats rising up, despite the fact that, 20% approval rating. Poll after poll continues to show that outside of this very small mob minority of protesters, the American people continue to be on the side of Trump, including, by the way, the so-called controversial decision yesterday to hold the military parade in honor of the Army's 250th anniversary. This is, of course, an event that Democrats were comparing to North Korea, right? They're saying authoritarian regimes, only an authoritarian regime would celebrate its military and do a parade, because certainly parades have never existed before in history, including in American history. But as you can see, needless to say, these people all unanimously made a complete fool and humiliation out of themselves. We'll show you some of those highlights here today, although this might have to be a two-part video because truly there are just so many antics and ridiculous nonsense to react to. It's sort of a running gag on this channel that anytime the leftists protest, we show off the ridiculousness. And as you know, on their big day of action, there's going to be plenty of it. So with that said, guys, do us a big favor. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. If you are new, subscribing is the best way to support these videos and also ensure you stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And with that said, okay, so before we get into some of the highlights you saw across the country, the lowlights, I guess you'll say, of Democrats' protests, it's just so hilarious, right? Nonetheless, first of all, I do want to highlight this. According to CBS YouGov, and YouGov is not historically a super pro-Trump poll, if you remember from the 2024 election, they asked Americans, despite all of the polarization and partisanship, on their approval of the U.S. Army holding a military parade on June 14th to mark its 250th anniversary. Again, Democrats are saying, this is unprecedented. This is not normal. This is North Korea, right? As you can see, +5, right? 45% approve, only 40% disapprove. Yeah, okay, that means a lot of independents, perhaps even some Democrats feel that way. So, there you have it. First of all, number one, again, as I so often point out, Democrats the last few months are really fumbling the ball in every regard because they unanimously continue to pick the absolute worst political hills to die on, right? The moment that Kilmar Abrego Garcia started, and I said that by making their core issue immigration and deportations, Democrats are digging themselves into a hole because they're unpopular on that issue. What's happened the last 2 months, right? Trump approval has gone up, Democrat approval has gone down. Now they're dying on the hill of, he's an authoritarian because he deployed the National Guard. We showed you polls showing that the American people support deploying the National Guard to quell civil unrest. Now they're saying military parade, that's the worst thing ever. Oh, the American people support the military parade? Yeah, go figure. Now with that said, okay, now getting into the No Kings Day of Action, right? This is supposed to be the opposition, the counter to the military parade. As you can see, the Democrats certainly sent their best because I kid you not, they're celebrating this, by the way. They were going out and saying, wow, look at the senior citizens rising up, not realizing the cell phone that this is. Take a look here as the Democrats deploy indeed their best troopers, their best protesters. Like, we can't even make this up, right? We always say, oh, that the geriatric party, that's basically who they represent. Here you see Democrat protesters literally deploying out of the nursing home to go protest against Trump. Look at this.
Okay.
Here we come.
All right, I got you.
Got me?
Yep, I got you.
This is the best their party has to offer, by the way, guys. Look at that. Utterly hilarious. Look how many are deploying. Look at that. So this, when they say, oh, look how many people we pulled, guys, gigantic crowd, this is exactly who we're talking about. And truly, I think, honestly, it's got to be a sad thing to witness to a large degree because what you're witnessing, much like the Joe Biden presidency itself, is pure elder abuse, because you have people who are, yes, in a geriatric state. They're very old. They're literally in the nursing home, and they basically are turning on MSNBC and CNN in these nursing homes to brainwash and scare these senior citizens. They're taking away your Social Security. They're taking away your Medicare, all this stuff. And then, literally, yes, it's June, right? It's hot outside. Let's send all these senior citizens out to protest and be like, oh, look at grandma and grandpa, guys. Like, yes, I know our nation has been having a problem being ruled by a gerontocracy for some time now, but I'm not exactly sure if, Democrats think that highlighting, hey, this is the life of our party, right? This is who our party represents, and this is what we're all about, dragging geriatrics out to protest in like 90-degree heat is necessarily the best look, but like I said, there you have it, day of action. Secondly, here, as you can see, out of, I believe this is in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, but look, again, this is just the type of riveting, amazing crowd you saw yesterday at No Kings.
Around here, there's shady. Yeah, that's what,
That's a disgusting shirt, huh?
Oh, I love it, man.
Oh, I almost threw up in my nose.
Hey, that's okay. There's the street.
Not true.
Look at all this energy.
Well, he's saving our country. No. Do you know how corrupt our government is? No. I think he's corrupt. No, but what do you like?
Did you think Biden wasn't? It's called elder abuse. Yeah. That man was not.
Yeah, it's called elder abuse, by the way. What you're witnessing right now, look at that. Look, this is called elder abuse as well. I don't know what it is with the Democrat Party. They can't find any younger supporters out there that, in order to fill the ranks of their crowd, remember, keep in mind, the Democrats used to be the party of the youth, right? That was their thing. We're the young party. We got AOC, even before AOC, right? We got Rage Against the Machine back in the day. So always the thing. Liberal equals young people. Now, all these people can drag out to apparently put together a protest as the geriatrics. Look, and by the way, look at this energy. Wow.
Forget him. I'm just curious what you like.
Thanks for coming.
Donald Trump and MAGA supporters are simply shaking in their boots, guys. And, if you want maybe some of the highlights, again, getting more into this gerontocracy theme, but also just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with at these No Kings protesters yesterday, take a listen here as one individual in Philadelphia really does summarize what these protests truly were all about.
I'm just so scared. I'm 74 years old. I worry about everything, and I just am so scared and upset, and I don't understand why people voted for this person.
See what I mean about elder abuse? It truly is a disgusting thing that the aging and rapidly declining mainstream media is getting up to. But nonetheless, there you have it. Now, moving on here, let's talk about the apparently No Kings protest that was supposed to take place in Hollywood, Florida, which is over in Broward County. Now, people might say, oh, well, that's Florida. However, I would like to note Broward County is not only one of the most populous counties in the state of Florida, but also notoriously a blue county, right? Even in DeSantis, his landslide, still Broward County went blue. And as you can see, bad news for them. Apparently, the Hollywood, Florida No Kings protest was canceled due to a lack of participation. Okay, so there you have it. Wow. They apparently, did not find enough people to show up. Apparently, they had to, because they could not get enough people to show up, they tried to combine this with the other protest that took place in Fort Lauderdale, as you can see. So one big protest after one had to be canceled due to low attendance. Okay, truly riveting stuff. The American people are just doing so much rising up, so much resistance to what's currently going on. Okay, so let's look at some of the highlights of the Fort Lauderdale protest. As you can see, wow. Riveting stuff, guys. This is Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Truly, I mean, again, like I said, Donald Trump is in fear, guys. This is truly a threat. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that sign, by the way. Here you go. Check this out. Are these people capable of building any type of political resistance that is forget actually a good, can they do anything normal? Like, can they not make themselves look like complete fools and idiots like every single time they do this type of stuff? Look at that. Little wow. Look at these people. This guy's on his phone. He's bored, okay? Amazing. Look at this guy. Unbelievable. Look at the police. Even apparently the police were about to fall asleep because the No Kings protest in Fort Lauderdale really did have that few people. Look at that. Wow. It's just groundbreaking stuff, truly. Now, it's okay, so that was Fort Lauderdale. Moving on here, as you could probably expect, I'll give credit where it's due. They did manage to pull a decent crowd of hundreds and hundreds of people apparently in the city of Washington, D.C., which is, of course, not exactly a shock. But, of course, you see Democrats post this on Facebook like, look, we got a protest together in D.C. This is proof that the American people are rising up. They always, that's the point of this, by the way. Take some pictures, astroturf it, make it look like there's a resistance when there's not, right? Everything they do is astroturfed resistance. Oh, look, we got a bunch of people to show up in L.A., or Chicago, or Dallas, Texas, or Washington, D.C. This means something. But anyways, as you can see, the optics here are as strong as ever. Check it out here as Democrats begin hanging North Korea flags in front of the White House to protest today's military parade. And typical behavior. Check it out.
With his intimidation. Today we refuse to voluntarily give up our First Amendment right to speak out and protest. Today we refuse to fall silent as our immigrant sisters and brothers and family are snatched up, disappeared, deported, flung around the world, including in torture prisons. And today, we refuse to accept Donald Trump unleashing the military against the people of this country in the streets of this country as he parades his fascist military in front of the eyes of the world. We say, hell no! Hell no! Hell no! Hell no! We say Trump must go now! Trump must go now!
Truly riveting stuff, guys. As I said, well, they have the North Korea flag. They have some geriatric screaming on the microphone. Then they have some lunatic screaming on the microphone. This again, by the way, I like to point out, right? This was supposed to be, this is not any normal protest day. This is what the Democrats hyped up as being the big day of organized resistance, right? This is their moment to show they can do something so amazing. And this is the best product you could put out there. Yeah. Definitely not looking good for the future of this party. But again, when you literally have to wheel out geriatrics from the nursing home to stack the crowd, you're probably not in a good position to begin with. Nonetheless, as you can see here, Democrat politicians, including Mr. Jamie Raskin here, did also participate in these protests. And, amid the broader discussion of the Democrats failing 20% approval rating in the 2026 midterms and their ability, their hopes to maybe finally get Donald Trump on something or find a leader, right? We need leadership in the Democrat Party. Take a listen here to apparently the best that the Democrats have to offer. By the way, keep in mind, this rhetoric, by the way, comes on the same exact day that they were telling everyone, oh, we need to tone down the temperature because of what happened in Minnesota. And then hours later, this is what you hear. Take a listen.
No kings and we've got no slaves. We've got no masters and no serfs. Those of us who aspire and attain to public office are nothing but the servants of the people. And the moment that somebody in public office begins to act like the master of the people, that is the moment to evict, eject, reject, impeach, try, convict, and start all over again.
But oh, we need to tone down the temperature in America. Bad things are happening. Political violence is taking place. It's all the fault of Trump's rhetoric. Right. Of course, it's also very interesting. So you now have Jamie Raskin endorsing the idea of impeaching Donald Trump. Now, I think it truly goes without saying that if Democrats do win the House in 2026, that is exactly what they're going to do. But with that in mind, it is worth noting that when it came to, remember Congressman Sri Thanadar? Okay, remember that guy with a toupee that tried to impeach Donald Trump just a couple weeks ago? The leadership basically condemned him and ridiculed him, but now you have prominent Democrats like Raskin saying it. Is this now a mainstream push? Okay, are you going to see actual House Democrat leadership endorse the idea of impeachment? I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to see. But with that said, I think it is also worth noting here the incredible optics, okay, as always, the Democrat Party is engaged in. While Jamie Raskin is speaking, as you can see, this appears to be some type of state capitol, that on the flagpole behind him, you know, I think Democrats are literally allergic to waving the American flag literally ever at anything, whether it's the Mexican flag, as we saw just about 2 weeks ago, or now the North Korean flag. Apparently, look at that. They got the LGBT flag up on the flagpole. That's the highest one, right? The only one. So that's probably where an American flag used to be. And again, here, guys, the Democrats in their amazing, just brilliant optics of appealing to the center, winning back independent voters, winning back the common sense theme. Democrats, as always, continue to basically self-flagellate themselves and just every time they throw a boomerang, it truly does go to swing right back in their face. So let that be said, right? Whether it's the image of the guy waving the Mexican flag and it's burning, or even Democrat politicians speaking here, apparently that's their new American flag. Let these be two very important images going into the 2026 elections that everyone ought to know. Yes, this is indeed what the Democrat Party stands for, and we know that because they told us that themselves. Now, as you can see, so every Democrat pundit in the world is trying to figure out their big way to spin what happened yesterday as some type of big, great resistance. So you can see here from Ed Krasenstein, by the way, one of the biggest idiots, I gotta say, on all of X. But he goes on to say, quote, another massive anti-Trump No Kings Day protest. This is in Greenville, South Carolina, a state that voted for Trump. People as far as the eye can see. Okay, well, let's play the video here and see if the energy is off the charts, as they're saying. Wow, the energy's just off the charts. I just cannot believe this, guys. Oh my gosh. The resistance is building. They're so pathetic. Everything they do. They're, like I said, they're incapable of doing anything that isn't weird, lame, or just downright pathetic. Now, that said, let's take a listen here as to give you more of an idea of some of the just ridiculous circus that you saw yesterday. Take a listen here as Randy Weingarten showed up apparently to the No Kings Rally in Philadelphia. And, well, I mean, just see for yourself. Take a look here as she just, you know, clearly is like too small for the podium. And it's just like jumping up and down like a child or something. Take a listen.
Philly, you are the community to this president's chaos. And together, we build a future of opportunity and justice for all. Hope over fear, aspiration over anger, the promise of America for each and every American. That is what we are fighting for today. So, I say, the people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be defeated.
I mean, we react to these protests all the time. I don't think anyone is exactly surprised, but they just never ceases to amaze me how lame, how low energy, how incompetent every single attempt to like show something against Trump continues to be. Now, with that said, let's take a listen to yet another famous Democrat character. We just talked about Mr. Jamie Raskin. Take a listen now to Representative Eric Swallwell. Of course, you know, this guy's going to be a true character. He also gave a speech yesterday at the No Kings event. You know, he has this new thing, by the way, where he's trying, you know, because the Democrats have this whole theme going of, oh, we need to not seem so pretentious and condescending to people. We need to seem relatable. So apparently the way we do that is just dress like normal people and cuss some more and talk like normal people. And by the way, normal people won't find that to be completely fake and pretentious. No, surely this will work. So take a listen here. I mean, look at that site. Look at these people, by the way. amazing picture. Take a listen here as Eric Swalwell likewise humiliates the Democrats yet again and shows how much No Kings continues to be one of the most pathetic showings I think I've ever seen in my lifetime.
To hold a mad king accountable, you're not doing it right. He's got to go. He's got to go. He has 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 got to go. And we're not helpless to make that happen. Small victories are going to bring us big victories. Yeah, we're seeing the small.
Where's the victory? Then where's even the small victory? Okay, you guys literally spent 2 weeks rioting in the streets, making yourselves look like idiots. Now this is your big day of action and protest, really? All you can pull are like some geriatrics and hippies. By the way, this doesn't seem to be a big event. Eric Swalwell is a representative of California. This is all you can pull in California? Amazing.
Victories, like winning in Wisconsin when Elon Musk spent $30 million there. Yeah. And the voters there said democracy will not be bought. Yeah. We're winning in the courts. Yes. Donald Trump is getting his ass kicked in the courts. Yeah. He's losing in front of Trump-appointed judges. Yeah.
Gavin Newsom just lost in court, by the way.
And the press is still fiercely reporting. 60 Minutes. Credit to them. They were told, stop covering him negatively, and they keep doing it. Yeah. We need more independent-minded journalists. That's right. We're not going to cave or fold to Donald Trump. 1,000 rallies today to say no king in America, no king ever. And we're going to march with those small victories to New Jersey and Virginia this November and win the governor's races there.
I'm sure the dozens and dozens of people in attendance really did get the message. They're so inspired, Eric Swalwell. So, you know, you're basically getting the idea by now. But in other events that I'm sure are absolutely of no surprise, out yesterday, I should say, in Charlotte, North Carolina, you can see the Democrats here. Again, amazing optics, okay? So glad they're really showing this to the world. Once again, demonstrating what they're all about, what country they truly stand for, as protesters unveil a Mexican flag in the streets of Charlotte. So So, you know, glad to see, by the way, Democrats are waving their flag at their protests. I mean, that's what expression should be all about, by the way, right? So that's what you're dealing with here. Out in not out in Mexico, well, out in Los Angeles. Another protester apparently confronts the National Guard with the Mexican flag, basically daring them to attack him, I guess, in some way. You know, very, very stable individual here. And of course, who could forget, going back here to the Washington, D.C. protests, yet more videos of the absolutely riveting energy and resistance that you saw. It is truly just a sight to behold.
This Trump regime must go now.
So there you got some girl dressed as a Handmaid's Tale. Wow. We haven't seen this a million times.
Trump must go now. Okay.
So, I mean, just to give you an idea of what you're talking about, right? DC hippie, DC hippie, DC hippie, geriatric. Yeah, I mean, you know, normal crowd that you see at all these things. But again, apparently the central argument that is being made by all the Democrats who claim like some type of real resistance is rising is that's what America all is, guys. It's people who live in big cities. It's hippies. It's geriatrics in big cities. Nobody else in this country actually is on board with anything, right? And this kind of, in my opinion, shows the very mindset as to why Democrats lost, because every time they say, look, the American people are rising up, it's like a video of DC or Los Angeles. And I think the lesson they should have learned on November 5th is perhaps that the American people are more and they're bigger than just LA, New York, DC, and a few other major cities. But as you can see, clearly just still no understanding of this. But
we're going to have a couple more speakers and then we're going to start our march. And I just want you to... We have the DC Activist Street Band over here in the back.
That guy looks homeless, by the way. Homeless Jack Black over here.
We have some of the members of PG County Indivisible.
We hate injustice. We hate authoritarianism.
Fascism must be defeated before it is consolidated, before it becomes too late.
Here you have like the crazy English teacher. Okay, this is like Glenn Walls basically speaking right here.
And today Donald Trump is very close to consolidating fascism. This is why we are here in the streets of DC today saying no to Trump's fascist military parade and saying the Trump fascist regime must go now. Donald Trump cannot govern this country. Trump must go now. Trump must go now. Trump must go now. Trump must go now.
Wow, riveting stuff, guys. So with that said, I mean, there you basically have it, okay? Democrats on their big day of action just do what they always do, right? Humiliate themselves, have horrible optics as usual, and yeah, needless to say, I'm sure these people all went home. Their mommy tucked them in later, and there you have it. Okay, with that said, we'll cover more in the next video because there is a lot more from these No Kings protests to show you, but I just wanted to highlight, okay, just some of the hilarious antics of it all. You got low energy going on. You got them, like, I'm blown away that they actually filmed that video, actually wheeling out the geriatrics from the nursing home to go protest. That just does truly sum all of this up. You got Mexican flags, you got North Korean flags, you got LGBT pride flags, everything except the American flag. Typical Democrat protest, okay? So there you go. All right, with that said though, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.